and Jim Gardner.
Thursday night, 2 people are shot in a car in Frankfurt, and a Philadelphia judge takes his case to court. But the big story in Action News tonight is our first winter storm of 1997. The cold and slippery conditions kept most people inside tonight, but there were some persistent souls out and about in Manayunk tonight despite cold winds and some icy streets. Sky 6 is live at Philadelphia International Airport, where departures are running about a half-hour late right now. The problem, they have to de-ice the planes, and that's throwing operations behind schedule. Action News reporter Dan Quayer has been touring the area tonight. We will go to Dan in just a moment, but first let's get the latest from AccuWeather and Dave Roberts. Dave?
Well, folks are going to have to de-ice their cars in the morning. If you've had your car out, most of them are coated with ice, and temperature is going to be around that freezing mark. Action Radar will show you the system moving away, and that is good news. Good riddance. Just get on out of here. We've had enough of this combination today. Break it down. Let's see what we have here. Action Radar's latest shot will indicate to you that there's just some light stuff aloft that's not reaching the ground now. The snow area is well to our north, and precipitation just kind of edging a little bit to our south. Overnight, the call from AccuWeather is the rain's over, but there's going to be some icy spots. The temperature range 32 to 36 degrees. Now, for rush hour in the morning, we're going to be closer to the freezing mark, so what appears to be dry in some spots now, if roads were not treated, are going to be icy in some spots. Be careful. We'll talk more about rush hour in the morning, Jim, when we come back in just a few seconds, and then, of course, the AccuWeather forecast for the weekend.
All right, David, thank you. Now let's go live to Action News reporter Dan Quayer on the side of the Schuylkill Expressway. Dan, you've been surveying driving conditions around the area tonight. What have you seen?
Well, Jim, for the most part, it hasn't been all that bad. We have fared pretty well on the roadways tonight, unless, of course, you were one of the few unfortunate ones that got caught on a fender bender due to a patch of ice on the roadway. For the most part, it was a sloshy mess motorists were contending with across the Delaware Valley, just what had been forecast. But in some cases, there were dangerous patches of ice. On the Platte Bridge, police say a motorist hit a patch of ice, panicked, and slammed on the brakes, causing a 7-car pileup on the southbound lanes. Sterling Lathrop says it all happened so fast.
Conceivably, someone had come up on my right. I don't really have a clear recollection of it. All I knew, the next thing I was slammed in the rear, and I was sliding and turning to the side and headed off toward to the right side of the road.
I didn't see exactly what it was. All I know, I seen cars swerving around, and I just slowed down. Luckily, I was far away, going at a speed that I could slow down. I thought I was out of trouble, but then I got whacked in the back.
No one was seriously injured in the mishap, but some of the cars were badly damaged, and traffic was tied up for several hours. Meantime, in West Deptford, New Jersey, on 295 at the Mantua Creek, an 18-wheeled tractor-trailer rig slid on a piece of ice. It lost control, knocked down 50 feet of guardrail before it went down the embankment. The driver from National Freight Inc. out of Vineland, New Jersey, luckily was not injured. Across the region, there is an abundance of salt thanks to the mild winter we've had so far, and road crews were using plenty of it, salting and sanding the roadways.
We have a lot of salt down. We have a good base down of salt. With the heavy volume of traffic during the rush hour, it really helped our operation. Now what we're doing is monitoring it because the temperature is going still below freezing point. We're not going to have as much traffic, so we want to make sure nothing freezes up.
All right, and right now the roadways are simply wet. In fact, the Schuylkill Expressway appears to be drying out at this moment, so the road crews are simply standing by in the eventuality that ice patches should develop. They'll be watching it overnight. But honestly, they're not expecting any significant ice patches to develop in light of what is being forecast. I'm Dan Quayer, live on the Action Cam.
Thank you, Dan. Now, earlier today, the weather played a role in at least 2 fatal accidents. One person was killed in this 2-car crash along Sloan Avenue near Route 295 in Hamilton Township. A separate accident nearby killed another motorist. At the Jersey Shore, salt trucks were out along the Atlantic City boardwalk. And in Delaware, a railroad maintenance crew used kerosene to set fire to a stretch of track to melt the ice and allow them to work on the rails. And the snow resulted in a shortened school day for some students today. The Penridge District in Bucks County closed schools at midday. At this hour, it appears that all area schools will be open in the morning. And for the very latest conditions in the morning, please join us for Action News at 5:30 a.m. A commuter plane trying to land during a light snow crashed in Michigan late today, killing all 29 people on board. The twin-engine turboprop Comair Flight 3272 was heading from Cincinnati to Detroit when it crashed in a farm field 18 miles from Detroit Metropolitan Airport. A woman who lives near the crash scene heard the plane go down.
I heard this noise and looked out, and then I heard the fireball, or I saw the fireball. You heard it crash, this big, huge boom, and this fireball just went crazy over there.
Fire and rescue vehicles converged on the field, but it was clear almost immediately that no one had survived. Federal officials say the pilot had given no indication of any trouble as he prepared to land. The National Transportation Safety Board has sent investigators to the scene. Comair said tonight the plane had no maintenance irregularities and the crew was well rested.
We have, and we will work with the NTSB and the FAA and anything that they can come up with, but so far we have nothing that would preclude this having been a normal flight.
It is the second fatal crash in the carrier's history. The plane, a Brazilian-built Embraer 120, has been involved in 4 fatal U.S. crashes, including the one that killed Senator John Tower of Texas 5 years ago. Frank Sinatra continues to have health problems tonight. Sinatra was taken to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles today with an apparent heart attack. His doctor said Sinatra appears to have had what the doctor called an uncomplicated heart attack. Sinatra is undergoing tests and his prognosis is said to be good. The Reverend James Quinn of Browns Mills, New Jersey, has been located in Zurich, Switzerland. Quinn disappeared last month on his way to Israel and was the object of an international search. As it turns out, he became ill on the flight from Philadelphia to Zurich and went to the hospital. He is apparently okay. He had no idea that people here at home were frantic about his disappearance. He'll be back home on Sunday. Controversy is suddenly swirling around the Haverford Township Police Department. It all started with the arrest of a man from Broomall who later died, and that man's relatives tonight claim he was murdered. Action News reporter John Rollins has the story.
The incident began with a minor traffic accident at Haverford and Eagle Roads in Havertown. At about 1:10 p.m., 38-year-old Richard Capelli of Broomall was taken to Mercy Haverford Hospital for treatment. According to police, Capelli became disorderly here at the hospital and walked away from the emergency room. The police say after a detective arrived, it was discovered that Capelli had left behind a jacket. According to a statement issued by the Haverford police tonight, inside that coat was found, quote, a suspected controlled substance. Police later said they believed it to be PCP, a hallucinogen. At 2:10, police located Capelli at this local bar and restaurant named Obsessions. The statement says officers tried to arrest Capelli here at the bar on a drug charge. They say he became combative, that he had to be handcuffed, and then he stopped breathing. Capelli was pronounced dead at Haverford Mercy 45 minutes later. Capelli's father, who identified his son's body, claims police murdered him. He thinks his son was strangled.
His neck, from here up, is like almost purple. And the rest of his body, his arms, and that are no discoloration. Evidently, he's choked him to death.
The dead man's family claims police targeted Capelli because he was recently acquitted of charges of attacking police officers in another Delaware County township. Haverford police declined to respond to the family's accusations. Many questions remain in this case. There may be some answers forthcoming soon. An autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow. John Rollins, Channel 6 Action News.
A woman and a 4-year-old girl were shot and wounded today as they sat in a car in the Frankfort section of Philadelphia. It happened at about 2:30 in the 4700 block of Dara Street. Police say somebody pulled up in another car and opened fire. The girl was hit in the wrist. She is in stable condition. The 44-year-old woman was shot in the arm and is also in stable condition tonight. 15-year-old Eric Hall, the son of a Philadelphia police officer, has been arraigned on charges of attempted murder and rape, the result of an alleged crime spree on December 23rd. Hall came to district court in Cheltenham to face those charges today. According to police, he shot 2 men in the West Oak Lane section of Philadelphia, then carjacked a 20-year-old woman and drove her to an apartment in Cheltenham. Outside court, Hall's family was confronted by the parents of his alleged rape victim, and emotions boiled over.
We ain't nothing. He should have took care of the boy. We're out here minding our business.
Hall's family members and friends prayed before the court hearing today. Hall is being held at the Youth Studies Center in Philadelphia. Police have now arrested 6 men in the killing of a grocery store owner last month in Camden. 2 of the suspects, including the alleged triggerman, were in court today. One of them is Bernardo Roman, who police say walked into the store on East 8th Street December 28th and demanded money from Nora Navarrete. But charges say before she could handle...
You have a partner in Lifesaver. We're always on guard to protect him against things that even you can't see. You can't be in every room, but that doesn't matter when we are. Lifesaver has been protecting families for over 20 years. Could you trust him to anyone else?
Lifesaver products are available at a dealer near you.
Ahead on WeatherScope, the snow and wind still continue in the north and east. We'll have live coverage throughout the night and early tomorrow morning for your commute on WeatherScope after your local forecast.
This is your local forecast. Weather information you can plan on, only on the Weather Channel.
Next on WeatherScope, a major winter storm spreading across much of the eastern half of the United States. We'll have the latest on the heavy snow. And cold air blowing out of the Arctic, dropping wind chills to dangerous levels. Your forecast in many areas includes some very cold temperatures. These stories plus in-depth forecast and analysis coming up in tonight's edition of WeatherScope.
Well, major wintry weather is bearing down on the Great Lakes and the Northeast, and it's going to be a very cold weekend in many areas. Hello, I'm Dave Schwartz in the Weather Channel studio. Your weekend weather outlook is coming up. But first, let's go to Jeff Morrow in the Forecast Center with the latest on this winter storm.
Oh yeah, Dave, we've got a wintry storm in the Northeast. That is still going to cause some problems with traveling, obviously, as we head on into the morning hours Friday. And we've got some horrendously cold air coming down out of Canada. Without a doubt, this is the coldest air so far this season. These are some scenes out of Fargo, North Dakota, and scenes like these are being replayed through much of the Dakotas, right on over into Minnesota, as far south probably as northern Nebraska into Iowa. Blizzard conditions is just a ground blizzard, winds blowing 30, 40 miles an hour, whipping the snow across and causing visibilities to be down to almost zero at times. Roads are drifting shut. Most of the roads are closed, and authorities are basically advising people don't go out. We'll get to more of that in a moment. Grand Rapids conditions maybe not quite as hostile or as harsh as we just showed you there in the Dakotas, but snowy nonetheless. About 6 inches of snow fell around the Grand Rapids area earlier in the day. That snow is now pretty much tapered off. There'll be some on and off flurries there and maybe some heavier snow squalls as we head on through the next couple of days, but definitely the big change in through much of the Great Lakes and indeed much of the central part of the country is the bitterly cold air coming in. Grand Rapids, we just showed you about 6 inches up there in Michigan, but the snow actually started off last night down here in Oklahoma, and then the swath of heavier snow, generally in the 3 to 6 inch and in some cases 7, 8, 9 inch range, all the way from Oklahoma right on up into parts of the state of Michigan. As Dave was mentioning, we also have a low-pressure area tracking up along the East Coast. That is causing a wintry mess right now for much of southern New England and parts of eastern upstate New York. We'll get to that in a moment, but we want to start off with this brutally cold air, which is plunging south through the Dakotas. As I mentioned, this is definitely the coldest air of this young winter season so far. And we're going to go right now to Lieutenant Jim Halling. He's with the Pierre, South Dakota Police Department. And Lieutenant Halling, could you just briefly tell us what the conditions are like there in central South Dakota right now?
At the present time, all the roads leading into and out of town are blocked with snow drifts. So absolutely no travel outside of town whatsoever. Basically a ground blizzard, you cannot see to drive. I just made a sweep around the truck route with a four-wheel drive. Visibility is next to zero at times. The wind chill is just bone chilling. It just takes your breath away. And if anybody would have car trouble, if they leave the vehicle, to be honest with you, it's probably they're taking a life in their own hands.
That's a good point to be made here, Lieutenant Halling, I guess, is that, of course, you don't want people to go out, but if they do go out and they get stranded, basically they're on their own at the present time because you just can't get out to them. That's correct. They're probably going to have no way of knowing where they're at, and if we do, it'd be they probably just won't go out after them because you can't see to get to them. Right. And if they do get stuck in their car, and let's hope that nobody's foolish enough to head out in weather like this, the best advice, as you mentioned, would be to stay in their vehicle, right? Don't try to venture out in this weather. That's correct. You know, run the vehicle periodically to keep warm, but stay in it because eventually the wind will die down and the plows will be out and they'll be found then. All right. Well, Lieutenant Jim Halling with the Pierre, South Dakota Police Department, thank you for joining us. I know it's a rough night there, and be careful when you're out there on those patrols. It is brutal out through the north central plains. Again, let's show you what we're talking about here as far as temperatures. Now, Pierre, South Dakota, about right here in the middle of the state, he was talking that the wind chills could take your breath away, and I don't doubt it. Wind chills where Lieutenant Halling is probably in the 60 below category. The actual air temperature there, I would say probably between 10 and 15 below. But again, when you factor in those winds, it is brutal out here. Pierre being about right in through here in central South Dakota, about a 60 to 65 degree below zero wind chill, I would imagine. Up to the north here, wind chills in the 70 below category. We even have had wind chills in the 80 to 85 degrees below zero category in western areas of South Dakota and eastern areas of Montana. Just unbelievably cold, and as Lieutenant Halling was saying, just foolish to go out. And the wind chills right into Friday pretty much in the same brutal, dangerous category, 60 to 80 below in the Dakotas and parts of western Minnesota, and ground blizzard conditions. Now, most of the snow you're looking at here around the Great Lakes is really lightened up. It really looks worse than it actually is. What we have to concentrate on is this area of ice, sleet, and snow moving on up through New England. Most of the snow right now light in Boston, but as we head up toward Concord and maybe on up into the Green and White Mountains and anywhere from Montpelier, Rutland, up to Burlington in Vermont, it looks like you may be picking up maybe about 3 to 5 inches of snow and maybe a little sleet. Same deal up here in parts of Maine as well. In Boston, a little bit of snow and then changing to sleet and freezing rain and then ending as rain as we head on through the next 24 hours. So a bit of a nuisance storm moving through the northeast. Hopefully that'll be pretty much out of here by the time late tomorrow rolls around. The real big story is that brutally cold air and the ground blizzard conditions in the Midwest. We'll keep you updated on that, but to see just how far south that cold air is headed and will it affect your weekend plans, well, let's go back.
And is being rebroadcast as a service to our late-night viewers. You're watching Philadelphia's NBC 10. Now, live from the News Center, this is News 10 at 11.
Here's the scoop on the winter storm tonight. We're dealing with an inch or two of snow around the area, and what's not being cleaned up is icing over tonight. Good evening, I'm Ken Matz.
And I'm Tracy Davidson, in for Renee Chenault.
And our top story tonight, most of us are on ice after the year's first significant snow.
As News 10 predicted, the storm brought us snow, then sleet, then freezing rain. In Bala-Cynwyd and elsewhere, plenty of us had to do a lot of scraping before we could even think about hitting the road. No question, a lot of cars had that glazed over look, frozen doors that need an extra tug to get them open.
Icy roads may be to blame for an accident tonight on the Platte Bridge in southwest Philadelphia. It happened in the lanes headed from the city to the airport. At least 5 cars were caught up in it. Traffic was slowed, but the bridge did remain open.
By 9 o'clock tonight, a slight warm-up was in the air in northeast Philadelphia. News 10 cameras show just rain falling at Roosevelt Boulevard and Langdon Streets. And the road was wet, but traffic was moving well.
A much different story today as PennDOT salt trucks scoured snow-covered Route 202 in King of Prussia, Montgomery County. Snow, sleet, and freezing rain made the busy highway slick in a few spots, with several fender benders reported. Overall, the crusty conditions didn't stop anyone from making their daily dash.
News 10 cameras captured the weather earlier today in Wilmington. It was a flaky afternoon there with steady snow coming down across northern Delaware, but the accumulation there was minimal.
All right, but let's get up-to-the-minute figures on this wintry mess from News 10's team of meteorologists live in the Earthwatch Weather Center. John Bolaris, what is the latest?
Hey, Ken and Tracy looking at the latest observations, and things are improving rapidly. Not much left in the way of freezing rain. Let's go right to the map. I'm going to show you exactly what we mean. Just some patches of freezing rain now. Wilmington still has some freezing rain, some snow left over in the Poconos. But that is it, folks. Mainly a cloudy sky for tonight. I'm going to wander over here to the weather net, and Glenn's been checking out our weather net. Now, what's going on there, Glenn?
Well, in Cherry Hill, one of our schools here, we're now up to 33 degrees. The temperature is going above freezing. That's up 5 degrees from 6 o'clock. So that has happened across the area. The temperatures have warmed up 4 or 5 degrees. And also, in some areas, the winds have shifted into the west, meaning the center of the storm is past us, and the precipitation shuts off as soon as that happens.
What it means to you, not much of a icing problem in the morning from the city point south and east, but there will be a problem once again by late tomorrow night. I will explain. More snow heading this way. Ken and Tracy.
All right, thanks, John and Glenn. Now let's go outside, where some people have found themselves on ice tonight. Who drew that assignment? Well, News 10's Doug Schimel is live at the intersection of Route 1 and 252 in Delaware County with the story.
Yeah, where we are, the contrast is still pretty evident, where there has not been a lot of car traffic tonight. Still a lot of crunchy ice, but all you have to do is just go a few feet out to another roadway and nothing. It's just enough snow and annoying ice that you couldn't get out of shoveling it. Mary Jenkins has actually been in training.
I had Cheerios and spinach. This is good for you. Exercise, exercise.
For the road crews with the really big shovels and all that salt, an early start kept the ice at bay, but there is still the Friday morning rush hour to worry about.
We're going to still have crews on through the rush hour of tomorrow. We just ain't going to have as many trucks on because it's going to be tapering off and you're not going to have any more precipitation.
The more rural you get, the more snow and ice you got. Had to drive over, meaning good business from Melvin Scott.
It seemed like they were in a panic, everyone to get filled up with gas, antifreeze, and oil, the usual, but they were very concerned about the big storm that was supposed to hit.
But compared to a year ago this time, the confidence level out there is pretty high.
I wasn't bracing for the worst. I'm glad to get through January, and it looks real good at this point. So I can live with a couple of days of this.
Well, now, just in the past few hours with the temperature rising, the ice that has been out here has started to soften and break up, and we have seen that all around Delaware County. We imagine it's happening all around the metro area. Live in Upper Providence Township in Delaware County, I'm Doug Schimel, News 10.
All right, Doug, thanks very much. Everybody has shoes like yours tonight, by the way. Make sure you're prepared for your morning commute. For the latest updates, be sure to tune in to the exclusive Earthwatch forecast tomorrow, beginning at 5:30 a.m.